All right, this is Math 1330, Section 2.5, Regression. So when it says regression, it's going to talk about either the questions are going to say, tell me, find me the regression curve, or tell me the least squares curve. So, if you notice that regression is the process for finding the curve that best fits the model. So basically what this is this will be giving you a list of data. So a list of x values and a list of y values. You put that information into your calculator and it will spit out an equation. And what this equation is it's going to take all the distances from the line. I'm syncing my Apple Pencil, with my iPad so that it'll write. All right, let's see if that works now. It does. Okay. So what it does is so here's your data values. So I'm using just different, so here's all your data points. Some of them might be on the line. And so what the least squares does is it takes the distance from the line. So it finds all the square distance from the lines and finds that least square distance of all these data points to the line, or to the quadratic, or to the cubic, okay, or to whichever one of these curves you pick. Now I've included logarithmic and exponential. I've also included power. Now notice, okay, hold on, let me talk about logarithmic and exponential. These two are chapter 5. So this is chapter 5 and this is chapter 5. Okay, now I went ahead and showed you their graph and their functions, and I'm going to tell you which function to which function to hit on your calculator now. Just because here is where we're talking about regression. Okay? Now, and then in chapter 5, all you have to know is you already know how to do regression. You just know that, okay, now we're going to hit this button on a calculator. Okay? So I'm already talking about it. I'm going to tell you which button to hit on your calculator, but you won't actually find these curves until chapter 5. Notice that for exponential, the exponent is x, but for power, the exponent is b. So we will do power now and exponential in chapter 5. Okay? So your questions will say, find the least squares method to find whichever curve you're looking for. All right? Now, how do we know which curve is the best curve? Okay? The best curve is told to us by what's called the correlation coefficient. Okay? So the better the correlation coefficient, the better or the closer that correlation coefficient is to 1, the better that curve. The correlation coefficient is r. And now your calculator will often give you r squared. So the closer r squared is to 1, so the closer to 1, the better that curve. Okay? And r squared will be between 1 and 0. This makes r between 1 and -1. Okay? Now, the next 2 pages are all about how do you enter this into your calculator. Okay? So if you have a TI-84 or a TI-83 or a TI-82 plus, all of these, if you have a TI-84, so if you have a TI-84 plus, which is what 90% of the students have, this is how you do it. All right, now I'm going to undo that. if you have no L1, then what you need to do, so if for some reason your L1 column is disappeared, then what you need to do is you need to hit second mem, okay? Memory is the plus sign. So you need to hit second mem. You need to go into reset, and then you need to hit default. And what this does is when you reset, you'll need to hit defaults, okay? And this resets your memory. All right? Once you do this, okay, if you have no R squared, all right, so if you have no R squared, all right, so if this is no L1, this is no R squared, then you need to do second catalog. Catalog. And that is 0. Okay? You're going to scroll down to diagnostic, sorry, I'm doing this on my calculator as I talk to you. Diagnostic on. Okay? Then you want to hit enter twice. Okay? Okay? Now, I'm going to scroll up just a little. To clear a list, to clear L1 or L2, you go into Stat, Edit, go up to where L1, so highlight the list, and you do that by going up arrow, and then you hit clear. And enter. Okay? All right? There we are. Under no circumstances whatsoever, do you ever hit delete when you have a list highlighted. That will delete your list. That is how your L1 got deleted. If that happens, you go to second memory reset defaults. If L2 gets deleted, go to second memory reset defaults. Okay? Do not hit delete when you have a list highlighted. All right? Now, if you have entered your data, now I'm going to do this with my emulator, in just a minute. I'm going to do this with my emulator, but I wanted to go over this. So if you have a TI, yikes, TI 84 plus, these are the commands you're going to use. Now, I typically tell students to use the AX plus B, the linear regression, all right? Most students don't have the 86, but this is what you use. Okay, these are the commands. If it's linear, you use LINREG. If it's quadratic, you use QUADREG. If it's cubic, you use this. If you want a fourth degree, so this is fourth degree. If it's a power regression, if it's exponential, if it's logarithmic. All right? Now, what we're going to do is I'm going to work, and this is just if it's an 85 or an 86. Their directions are a little bit different than what you have to do for an 84. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to work this example. Now, here's the example. I have all the directions here for an 84. And the reason I have an 84 is because 90% of the students have an 84. Okay, and I'm going to work this example, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch over and do the emulator, the calculator emulator here. So if I go into stat mode, edit, notice that I have data. I already have the L1 data I already have the L2 data. These are all the Y values. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to enter the X values. Now in the notes it tells you that if you read the question, it says the developing economies, da 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 da, and then it says find the quadratic, so we're going to use quad regression, that shares the quad function that best models the developing economies, share the global GDP as a function of number of years after 2000. So what that means is that 2003 is 3. Then we have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Now, our data values equal, so we're good. Now, say that the other list was not correct. Okay, so I want to declare it. So I'm going to show you how to clear the data list. Okay, so I'm going to go up to L1 and I'm going to hit, so notice how what I did is I go up to highlight the list. So all I did was move my up arrow up to where L2 is highlighted and I hit the clear key. So I'm highlighting the clear key. You can see me press down on it on the keyboard. And I highlight the clear key and then I hit enter. So now I have to go back. There's no way except to go back and manually enter that data in. 20, 22, 23, 27, 28, 28, 31, 31, 33, 35, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, and 43. And again, they highlight together. Now what I want to do is I want to not go there. Second quit is what I wanted to do, was get out of stat mode. So second quit. Go back into stat, go to calc, and then it said to do a quadratic. So I want to go to quad regression, And now I want to enter L1, comma, L2, close parentheses, enter. And it gives me my data. And that is not correct. And when I checked it earlier, it was. So stat, edit. Three, 4 and 22, 5 and 23, 6 and, there's my problem, 6 and 27. Okay, second quit. Now, I found a problem, so what I want to do is I wanted to redo that one. So second entry enters that last one. Now I'm getting the right answer. Okay? Now, notice that R squared is not showing up. Okay, so I'm going to go into catalog. I'm going to go down to D. I'm going to turn my diagnostic on. Now it says it's on, so now I'm going to go back to entry twice to get back to that command, and now it shows up. And that again is the correct answer. So now I've shown you how to clear a list, turn the diagnostic on, okay? The only thing I haven't shown you how to do is delete that. Now, how to find the part B is to find the negative, is to find the max. So that would be to do 2.6366 divided by parentheses, second over, second insert negative, second back, 2 times negative 0.04719, close parentheses, enter. So that's my answer. So that's 27. Because in time you want to round down, so that's the 27th year. And then what we want to do is we want to plug 27 into our function. So that is going to be negative 0.04719 times 27 squared plus 2.6366 times 27 plus 12.1001. And that answer is 4.8879 or 0.889, I think is what WebAssign is looking for. Okay? All right? So, now, for this, I want to do one more thing that I want to show you how to do on your calculator. So say I go to Stat, Edit, and say that I go and I accidentally hit delete. And so now I have deleted L4, and I deliberately deleted one that I didn't need. And then I try to go and I try to use second L3. It gives me nothing because there's nothing there. So I want to restore L3. So I want to go and I want to reset my defaults. And what this does is it clears everything. So it's even going to delete those two lists I just did. So now if I go back into Stat and Edit, why did it not work? Okay. Sorry, had to sneeze. Okay, all memory. There it goes. So now it's fixed. So when I do this, if I when I do this, I have to go back into catalog and I have to go back in and turn the diagnostic back on. Um, because otherwise it will still be off. Okay? So now I would have to do another one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into my, so I'm going to stop here. But what I want you to realize is that as you're working, that should cover everything you need to know for the regression. Now, there are some of the regression homeworks. Let me go back into the notes so that you can see. There are some regression homeworks. First off, read this note. If you use the years as your x values, you will get an error. First off. Secondly, there are some of the regression homeworks where you have to find the revenue function that is separate from finding the cost function. So you find the cost function using regression, but then it gives you a price where you have to find the where you just find the you don't find the price function using regression. Okay? So make sure you have to use everything you know already in the course to find all these functions. Okay? If you have questions, please post them to the board. All right? I hope this helps with your regression. Okay? Let me know if you have any questions. Bye.